How to define or identify a sick society? Well, a sick society is not necessarily difficult to define, but it can have so many definitions it can make your head spin. A sick society is a sick society in the end. It's a society designed out of deviants, out of ignorant people who simply dance along in their ignorance, who simply embrace their downfall and would expect anyone else to do so as well. It is a sick society that embraces forms that you may call communism, because everyone wants to live the same way. Because if anyone lives other than them, well, especially if they, the majority, the ignorant, cannot understand, that will make them feel uncomfortable. And a sick society reveres those who praise their self destruction, who turn their self destruction into an altar that they worship. Yes, they do not want people to think for themselves, because anyone who can think for themselves is someone who can see beyond the illusions sooner or later, or who starts questioning the illusions. The most horrible thing about a sick society is that the majority of the deviants know that they're actually investing their energy into this. Yes, there will come a moment when many people, not the majority, but many people know that the sick society doesn't have anything to give to them. But they gave up their feelings, they gave up their inner child, they gave up their hopes and dreams. Technically, they are nothing else but living zombies. So, well, they just prefer dancing to this comfortable script that they know than taking responsibility of their life and doing something that would differentiate them from the others, because they lie themselves that they are afraid of being misjudged and being labeled. You'll always be misjudged in a sick society, even when you're doing the same thing as the others, because this is how they initiate um any form of communication, any form of bonding. Bullying is gonna be one of the most common ways of bonding, because where there are 10 ignorants, one or two will be bullied because the others won't know how to initiate, a correlation, to initiate a conversation or something, right? Where there's a few people and one leaves, the others will automatically speak behind that person's back. So, in a sick society, things like these happen, right? A sick society is a place where you live as part of a death cult, because a sick society can never support your well being. It will support you dying slowly and surely, emotionally, mentally, your dreams and hopes. It is designed specifically to make sure you don't have any time to question reality, to question anything, because NGOs work, even your parents and whoever joins this, the stream of the dark society, right, the energy stream or the mainstream, let's say, of energy of that sick society, has to invest in hatred, which is a very heavy state of being. They have to invest into ignorance first and foremost, and ignorance breeds separation, separation breeds hatred, right? And classification, over classifications, labeling. When stupid people can't comprehend something, they will use labels, right? And with many of those people, you're not going to be able to do anything, not because you're not good at convincing people with facts, but because they're not interested in your facts. The only reason why they fight against your facts is because either they want to be um, either they want to be right in the face of others so that they don't get misjudged, mislabeled, or that they simply want you to see angry, to get angry. Because if you get angry, well, you're going to give them satisfaction. Because in the end, whoever angers you controls you. Ignorance are all about control. They want to control the narrative. That's why they can't stand it when you provide them facts, because facts will probably wake them to the reality that everything is fake. But as you may have observed, people who are weak, people who are ill minded, they will always agglutinate, they will always coalesce, and they will always fit like bricks unconsciously into the machinations of their sick society. It is their design, it is their comfort. They will gladly fight against anyone who thinks or does otherwise. That is why it is hard for highly sensitive people to find a relation in there, to find people to speak about more in-depth topics rather than just gossip and juicy talk that leads nowhere, that doesn't have any touch, and especially no meaning, that doesn't have any feeling into it. Because there is no feeling to be had into gossip. Gossip only means you're vampirizing one another, you're realigning one another in the sickness of the frame that the sick society desires most to have. Everyone has to be sick one way or another, otherwise, you cannot be controlled. If you're healthy, how can they dump all their products onto you? How can they corrupt your mind with all sorts of things to do so that you can become even more dead on the inside? Everything that a sick society gives you will sooner or later make you feel dead on the inside, will numb you down, because the music has that as a purpose. And not only the music, wherever you go in society, there's always ads, there are always flashing screens, there's always something to vampirize on your attention, or to attempt to do that regardless. And even if it cannot vampirize your attention, there's always something that causes an insurmountable amount of sounds. Maybe your ears are not picking it up, but especially in big cities where there's a lot of screens, a lot of technology, they all have certain sounds which your ears may not pick up, but your body does. And it weakens you slowly and surely. It makes your thinking feel sluggish. It makes your body filled with so much information that you cannot easily carry anymore. So you become more sluggish by the day. Secondarily, a sick society wants you to be so tired that you don't have enough time to even question the reality that you are in. So, honestly, the point is, what's the point in actually trying to define a sick society when we're already living in one? It's just that people don't want to allow themselves the courage to observe that. Because most people nowadays know that we live in a sick society. Many people know that we cannot coexist much in this environment, because in a sick society, everyone thinks for themselves. Everyone is praised if they do that. Everyone is wanted to be the lone wolf. But don't forget, the lone wolf will die of starvation, because the wolf was never designed to live on its own. In many social animals environments, there will be individuals, usually males, who will live on their own, who will handle life on their own and all its challenges on their own, just because they have to be forged into something much better, which will sooner or later, through challenging certain layers of that society, they will become part of its leadership. You can see that in wolves, you can see that in lions societies, right? Where certain individuals, just some, are expunged from their society, or they simply leave their society. And after a long period of being alone, they will claim leadership over a certain group, and they will lead their pack to a better lifestyle. Many such individuals don't make it, and well, that's one point. But some do, and you will see that the moment they get back into their society, they are completely changed. They are the kinds of individuals, whether wolves or lions or whatever, when they get back into their society, everyone accepts their presence. Those no longer need to fight much, because their imposing presence is what commands respect. The same thing is with humans. You see some humans so traumatized, so gone through all the warps and ebbs and flows of life, that you no longer feel that you want to challenge them. In the end, why would you want to challenge a god of depression? Do you want their boons? Do you want eternal depression in life? You know, there's no point in bullying someone who's gone through all the pain, because in the end, you're not going to be able to break anything in them. Fate has already done that before you, so unfortunately, go find someone else, right? So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated, take care, enjoy life. This being said, Ferenc Board signing out.